Fully vaccinated travelers can fly easy with their full vaccination cards. These 5 domestic destinations allow passengers to use vaccine card as a replacement to some of the travel requirements that they need to prepare for their flight this October 2021. Stay tuned and watch the video to know more. Welcome to DenZ TV. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you receive updates as they are posted. This is based on the information provided by Cebu Pacific Air. Please take note that these requirements are only true at the time of the posting of this video, and requirements may change without prior notice, so it is always better to check with your local government units for confirmation. Please take note also that an individual is considered to be fully vaccinated if he or she has completed the required number of doses and it has been at least 2 weeks since the last required dose. These are the 5 domestic destinations that passengers can fly easy to with the use of their vaccine cards. Let's check the details for each destination, starting with Butuan. The Cebu Pacific's list of travel requirements to Butuan was updated last October 7, so it's pretty recent. The city is also open for tourists. For fully vaccinated travelers going to the city of Butuan, here are the requirements. An approved Travel Coordination Permit or TCP from ESPAS, prepared to upload a valid government-issued ID and any of the following documents. A negative RT-PCR swab or saliva or antigen test result conducted within 5 days prior to travel, or a full vaccination card. So you can use your vaccine card as a replacement to the test requirement. It is also important to take note that children who are 2 years old and below are not required to have an ESPAS registration, and upon arrival, guests will have to undergo mandatory quarantine in an LGU facility for those with symptoms or at home for those without symptoms. An RT-PCR test will be conducted 5 days after arrival, which will determine the remaining number of days in quarantine. For guests bound for cities or municipalities outside the city of Butuan, here are the requirements. An approved travel pass through permit or TPP from ESPAS, a negative RT-PCR antigen test result, or a full vaccination card. Let's proceed to Cebu City, and the travel requirements were updated as of October 4, and the city is also open for tourists. All guests bound for Cebu City are required to present the following documents to be accepted for flight. So this is only for Cebu City. Lapu-Lapu, Mandaue, and Cebu Province do not have a policy for fully vaccinated guests. So for fully vaccinated guests, you have to present your vaccination card and also a negative RT-PCR saliva test taken within the last 48 hours. Let's proceed to Cotabato. And the travel requirements were updated as of August 6, so not very recent. So please take note of this. This means that you have to also confirm with your LGU if this list of requirements are really updated. And they're also open for tourists. So for guests bound for Maguindanao Province, these are the requirements. A negative RT-PCR swab or saliva or antigen test result, valid for 72 hours from date of release of results, or simply present your vaccination card for fully vaccinated guests. If you are in a poor, please also prepare a travel order and your company ID. For guests bound for Cotabato City, these are the requirements. Negative RT-PCR swab or saliva test, valid for 72 hours from the date of the test. Also, full vaccination card for fully vaccinated guests, and then QR code from CCTS or Cotabato City Contact Tracing System, and travel order and company ID for a poor. So in the list, the vaccine card is listed alongside the test requirement without specifying if the card is a substitute or replacement for that test requirement. So please confirm this with the LGU if you are traveling to Cotabato City as a fully vaxxed traveler. Let's go to Dumaguete, and the travel requirements were updated as of September 9, and they're also open for tourists. For fully vaxxed travelers, these are the requirements. A negative antigen test result valid for up to 48 hours from the release of result. Children who are 10 years old and below are exempted from this requirement provided that accompanying adult has a negative antigen test result. Unapproved SPAS, and please coordinate with your LGU for the requirements to secure an SPAS approval. And of course, your full vaccination card. So for fully vaccinated travelers, you are still required to submit a negative antigen test. But for those who are not yet fully vaccinated, they are required to submit a negative RT-PCR swab test result. And lastly, we have Tacloban, and the requirements were updated as of September 9, and they're also open for tourists. Here are the requirements for fully vaccinated travelers. A barangay certificate if you are an LSI, company ID and travel order if you are an APOR, and a negative RT-PCR swab test result valid within 48 hours prior to arrival, or a full vaccination card. And those are the domestic destinations that accept vaccine cards as travel requirements for fully vaccinated travelers. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the content of this channel, please remember to subscribe. And don't forget to check out all the other videos as well.